Hi guys, it's Morgan, and it's the second day of BroadwayCon 2025.
I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one. Oh, and I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone. Guess you didn't know, but you wrote that song about me. As you said forever, now I drive alone past your street. Yeah. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you.
Hold you. Oh, say something, I've given up on you.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
Grammy of being incredible for your age and accompanying yourself. We have our third place winner is Sydney Yard.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Cannot wait to see you in a couple years, girl. Oh my goodness. And speaking of ages, my goodness, Jaslyn Jimenez, what an incredible performance. 12 years old, I screamed. They said you were 12, you didn't hear me because I wasn't on mic, but I screamed, what? My name is Regina George. This girl is a fugly cow. Hey, Katie, how you like me? No. Really, absolutely incredible. And then we literally looked at each other and we thought we had this all figured out. And then Apollonia took the stage. Your placement, and your ability to hit those incredible notes without pushing yourself. And for me, and that mostly comes from Marcus because he knows that stuff. For me, I felt you so deeply, and you gave me chills. And we both agreed that you should be the winner of this year's session.
She ain't perfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help.
Yes. Contest winner and a trophy winner. And thank you. This has been the 2025 Star to Be contest. And we have our first, second, and third place winners. Could you all come down, please? First, second, and third. Can y'all come step down, step down, step down? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody else, because y'all gonna do some pictures. Yes, 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 yes. Woo!
Yeah, I have the card in. I don't know if
Yeah.
Pirate King, Pirates of Penzance. It was Judas and Godspell. I assistant directed Chorus Line, and directed West Side Story, and then and then what happened in my junior year was really significant, which was that Rent came out and I saw it on my 17th birthday. And that was the thing that made me go from just loving musicals to writing musicals, because all the musicals I've listed take place in some other time and in some other land, and I didn't see any access point for me to be able to write one. And then here comes Jonathan Larson, who writes a musical about right now, about our city, about gentrification, about living with HIV/AIDS, and being scared of dying, and being scared of selling out as an art. It was like all the things I was thinking about, and that was the show that gave me permission to start writing.
So you head to Wesleyan,
Yeah.
and you start writing, and you start working on a little show that ultimately becomes In the Heights.
Yes.
And the Heights. Talk a little bit about that experience, Lynn.
Sure. I think a couple of things happened. So I wrote these two musicals in high school, and because I loved Rent, they sound like a kid trying to write his version of Rent. Like, they're okay for a 17, 18-year-old, but they're like rockish musicals. And then I get to Wesleyan, I'm one of a small percentage of Latinos in the school, and my sophomore year I lived in a house called La Casa de Albizu Campos. And that was a program house for Latino community leaders. You had to write an essay to get into the house. And I'm suddenly there with a lot of kids like me who not only are maybe first in their family to go to college or first or second generation in this country, but have also navigated the same kind of code switching I have. Like, we grew up with both American culture and the very specific Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, Latinidad that we grew up in our homes. And that, I think, having friends that were fluent in everything like I was, culturally, gave me permission to just start writing In the Heights. And I wanted to write a full-length musical. It was an 80-minute one-act. And the only thing the college version shares with the version you might have seen on Broadway or in the movie is 5 notes. In Washington Heights, everything else has changed. And we really, there was the 80-minute one act. There was me working alone with Tommy, Tommy Kail, right out of college for about a year. In the basement of the drama bookshop, and then we started getting the people we needed to make it the best version of itself. So Alex Lacamoire comes aboard, Chiara comes aboard to write the libretto, and that's when it really, the version really starts, because Chiara really cared about really making the community a character, and then we were really, and it's a very short distance from Chiara joining us in 2004 to us opening off Broadway in 2007, and so we opened at a theater that no longer even exists, 37 Arts, off Broadway, and we moved to Broadway in 2008, and I know that we froze the show off Broadway almost exactly 18 years ago, because Chiara gave birth to her daughter the day we froze the show. We froze the show, she was really pregnant, we went to Burgers and Cupcakes for dinner, and her water broke on the way back. And I know Cecilia had her 18th birthday last week, so I will always know that day.
I go back on Labor Day.
I'll try to make my way out
West to California.
So we've got the summer,
And we've got each other, perhaps even longer.
Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive, and everyone who loves me has died, then I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it.
The line where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes. If the wind in my sail on the sea stays behind me, one day I'll know. If I go Oh, there's just no telling how far I'll go.
And I think I've talked about some of them. One of my favorite memories is we rehearsed at 42nd Street Studios, and I remember singing When You're Home with Chris Jackson for the first time, and the excitement of what that sounded like, and everybody sitting in the room and wanting to listen and taping it on my cassette tape, which I still have, but now I can't play it on anything because I don't have a cassette player. But just that magic of what happens when you're making theater, you know, and singing with Chris, and that still is like a feeling of home for me. Or when I play, when Alex plays for me or sings with me, because he did sing a lot during our rehearsals. But that's one of my favorite memories.
Fantastic.
Okay. It is Les Mis! Okay. So, does it have to be an hour, Ellen? Can it be 5? It's a 3-hour musical, okay? We all have a lot of stuff to talk about. So first things first. Gray, for the uncultured noobs out there, can you simmer down what Les Mis is about in a couple
Oh gosh. Okay. The synopsis of Les Mis.
A plot so simple that they have to put it in the playbill of the original Broadway production so audiences could follow along.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, I have.
Oh, incredible. That would be helpful, I think.
Oh yeah, they're like Act 1, Scene 1. This is what happens. Act 2, Scene 2. Jean Valjean has a new name. It's that kind of stuff.
It is really confusing, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's about Jean Valjean, who. So I've done Les Mis twice, which we'll get into later.
Fantastic.
But I haven't really thought about it since middle school. But so no, that's not true. I saw the movie, which came out after middle school for me, I think. Right? When did the movie come out?
2012.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't in middle school.
No, I graduated from college in 2012, yes. So, okay, it's about Jean Valjean, who is a criminal.
He's a convict.
Convict, right. Because he did what?
He stole cars.
Right? But that's where the show starts, right?
The show starts with him going out on parole after 19 years in prison for stealing a loaf of bread, yes.
Okay, could you give us the synopsis of Les Mis?
Twist my eye. Jean Valjean gets released on parole, and he ends up being gifted 2 pieces of silver candlesticks from a very loving bishop, and he uses that silver to start a new life, becomes a mayor and the owner of a factory where one of his workers gets fired because she has a secret child, yes, out of wedlock. That is Fantine. She dreamed a dream, and because she's fired, she has to provide for her kid Cosette, who is being cared for by an innkeeper and his wife, who are totally on the up and up, and she has to send money to them because she thinks Cosette is sick. She doesn't know that it's like a con that they're telling her. So she sells her hair, she sells her locket. In the book, she sells her 2 front teeth. And then she goes into sex work. And it's not a positive sex work. It's the sad kind. And through that, she then gets, I think, TB. She gets sick with either TB or plot device, whatever you want to call it. They never say what it is. Storytelling is what she gets sick with. Valjean realizes that he made a mistake. He promises that he'll take care of Cosette. She dies. This whole time, this absolute... So I like to curse. How offended are we by curse words? It hasn't. This dick, Javert, the constable, who's been chasing Valjean because he's like, you're a criminal, you'll always be a criminal, and I'm gonna find you. Like, Valjean lives rent-free in Javert's head, and he's just like, he's the ex that got away. And so he's chasing him, he won't stop stalking him. Valjean gets Cosette. She grows up to be an ingenue. She falls in love with a very pretty dum-dum named Marius. Marius is part of a group of rich boys who are like, we are allies. And so they go to like fight a revolution for the poor. It doesn't go great. Marius has a Taylor Swift type who's longing for him named Eponine. She dies for him-ish. And then everyone but Marius dies because Marius is special somehow. He and Cosette get married. Valjean tells Marius his true life story. Javert has a conundrum and decides to exit plan off of a bridge. The Thénardiers are funny. Valjean then tells Cosette, P.S. You're not my real daughter. Your mother died protecting you. Now I'm dying. Peace out. And then the ghosts come back, like in Titanic, and they say, when tomorrow comes. And that's Les Mis. Okay, raise your hands who saw the original production of Les Mis. Maybe not when it opened, but at some point, fantastic. It's the Royal Shakespeare Company. They were very big on doubling roles. So if you saw it, like Marius and Enjolras, they were constables in the opening, and Cosette and Eponine are sex workers and lovely ladies, and so on and so forth. Patti LuPone was the original Fantine in London. And as we all know, Patti LuPone, despite what she says, does not love ensemble tracks. So she always would conveniently have commitments when they were like, okay, now we're staging, One Day More, now we're staging the ABC Cafe. And she's like, oops, I have a thing. And then one day she comes into rehearsal accidentally, and they're staging a barricade scene. And they're like, oh my God, Patty, thank you so much for coming. You're a bullet boy. Which is why in the original Broadway production, the only role that Fantine played was the bullet boy. So she would die, have all of Act 1 off stage, come back as the bullet boy for a scene, not have a line or anything, then go off and get to be Fantine again. Andrea McArdle played the role for a while on Broadway. Do you want to tell the candy story of Andrea McArdle?
Right, I mean, I don't know if it's a very intricate story, but she would, go on stage with like Skittles in her pocket or something, I think. And I heard that one day she did a big dramatic death, and when she died, all the Skittles fell out. Just like bounced their way into the pit. And it was like silence, right? It's like when
it's when that big revolve is happening,
Yes.
all the students are dying, and it's the orchestra playing Bring Him Home so quietly, so you have right, and then just like a rainstorm happening. It's like a giant thing, and it's echoey, it's all metal and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's also very sad and tragic, and then all of a sudden, all these Skittles are just raining down.
A little fall of rain, one might say. That's how you know everyone in this room has seen that show. So now, I'm not going to listen to the show anymore. I'm going to read a magazine. I'm going to turn off the intercom. Before she knows it, they're at the end of the show, and she's not there as Ghost Fantine to welcome Valjean to the pearly gates. And the Javert had run in and be like, LuPone, so she's like, I left Cole Wilkinson on stage alone for 10 bars of music. So she goes downstairs and runs on and has to go on, enter from a different side. So the audience and I just heard, I am ready, Fantine. At the end of my days, but just by himself. I would. That's like the John Doyle production of Les Mis, where it's there's no Fantine, it's just Valjean having a vision to himself. Fantine is an empty chair at an empty table. But here's where the poetic justice comes. A year later, Randy Graff tells us this story. Randy Graff is dying as Fantine on her deathbed, and she's doing Come to Me, Cosette, the light is fading, and the way the original staging was, she gets out of her bed and crawls to the lip of the stage. And that's when Valjean's supposed to come on and lift her up. And it's, she knows that he's there because you hear, oh, Fantine, our time is running out. But she's just sitting there and she goes, and soon it will be light. And just you hear, and just you can just listen all around. So not only, and eventually you hear on the intercom, oh shit! And it's Cole Wilkinson's mic from backstage, and he's in his dressing room. Eventually he runs on and grabs her. She says the entire scene, he's being like, oh, Fantine, your child wolf, and Randy, I'm so sorry. What she said was, because she had to be back in the bed by that point, and he wasn't there, and so she's supposed to be dying, so, Gray, I'm going to ask you to speak into the mic what you see for the people who are listening to this podcast down the road. This is Randy Graff. She's here. Cole's already found. She goes.
He's on his knees. Dragging himself to the bed. The legs don't work. He's reaching out.
And that's when Colin came in. He was and I just pushed him for that.
That's incredible.